Hello everyone, I'm Carolyn from Tranquil Mentor and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to be making a Thanksgiving Harvest Thankful Wreath. My sister-in-law gifted us some floral and crafting supplies. She's an artist, a florist, and also a full-time healthcare worker. In the box there is a broken wreath form and she thought it would be a great idea to show you how to repair it. We'll also be using our 20 watt diode laser cutter to make the thankful sign. We will definitely be using this black tool in another craft project, so stay tuned for that. It is absolutely beautiful. I have so many thoughts for this. And here's our broken wreath form. We're just going to take, I got some of this duct tape. I can't remember if I got it. I doubt I got it from Dollar Tree, maybe Dollar General. I like the white one. It doesn't show through as much, but gray would be just fine. I'm just going to wrap this around. The duct tape I find comes in very handy to do these repairs, any kind of, the foam repairs and everything. We'll just take a piece and wrap this around nice and tight. And that should do it for that part. There is a little dent, which I'm going to turn to the back of the wreath anyway, but you're not going to see it. We're going to be using, that was also in the box, this Ashland burlap wrap. It's 20 feet, 6 meters. And this is the tightly woven brand, or the tightly woven type of ribbon. Very wide. And she also included in the box some greening pins. And I've used T-pins before, but I've never used these. So this is going to be exciting. I'm going to start out by taking one of those greening pins and just sticking it in the back of the floral foam wreath. I'm going to wrap this around and I'm pulling this very tight. It has a tendency, if you don't wrap it on an angle, it has a tendency to bulk up a little bit. So I'm taking my time and just pushing or pulling this through, leaving it on the roll and then pushing it through. And again, tightening up, pushing, pulling each time. Crossing it over. Each row is going to cross over. And I didn't paint this wreath form. I didn't think I needed to because this is a very close knit, or I guess a close pattern, and you can't see through it. Some of them are very wide, like a wide open pattern, but this is very close knit. And then at this point, I'm going to take one of the greening pins and put that in. And I am trying to keep the greening pins towards the back of the wreath, what I'm going to use as the back. But really, it's holding up very well. And it's flexible so that I can move it around. And also, the best part is I didn't have to paint the wreath form. So I like that. I really do love this ribbon. It's nice and wide too. I believe it is about 5 inches. And then we're just going to keep going, holding it snug, wrapping it around just enough so we have some layers in there. And then as you get to these areas, sometimes as you get going a little bit, it will start to bulk up a little bit. So I finished wrapping that. I'm just coming to the end here and just showing you how I'm going to finish this up. And I've wrapped the entire wreath form, and then I'm going to stick this greening pin in again here, and then I'll stick the next one in. And then what I'll do is I'm going to get my scissors and I'm going to cut that. And then this way, if I ever have to reuse it, I can, but I'm just going to cut this part off, and just to finish it off, I'm not going to leave it like that, although I could, because I could just put my flowers there. And my flowers and my bow. But I'm just going to fold that over, repin it, and then we have a nice finished edge there. I'm really loving those pins. I'm excited about those. And I'm just going to cut that little fray off. You can always leave that on if you want to, giving it more of a rustic look, but for some reason I had to trim it. All right, and then I'm just pushing all of this together and just getting it fastened tight and making sure it's all set. And now that's all wrapped. And I'm just getting a dimension here. I've got about 9 or 10 inches. I'm trying to figure out how wide to make my sign. I'm just gonna give it a shot here. I might make it 12, I might make it 11. We'll see how that turns out. And then I have this from Dollar Tree. It just was left over in my little arsenal there. I love this white because if I do need, I might have other colors, but if I do need to change them, I can paint them, or I can do a Sharpie or something, a colored Sharpie, so that I do have the chance to change the color of that if I need to. But I wanted to use this white because I thought it would be perfect and not stand out too much, but give it a little bit of texture. And it's got a little bit of green in it too, so that's nice. And then I'm just using the wiry part. This is wiry. So I'm just using the wiry part of this garland. I'm tying it, and I'm going to use that. That's helpful that it's wired because I can twist it together. And then I'm just moving this all around. I didn't really want a lot of it. I just wanted a little touch of it. And I think that looks really pretty. Just enough color, a little bit of green in there. And here's some Crafter Square jute, or jute twine as we call it. I'm going to take that. I wanted a little bit more texture, so I thought I would just wrap a little bit of this jute twine around. You can pretty much always find this at Dollar Tree. And then I'm just going to wind it up a little bit more so it's easier to pass this through. And then I'm just going to wind it around and keep on winding, and then there we have it. We're at the end, and I'm just going to tie a couple regular overhand knots, and then that will be all set. And we'll cut that off. All right, I'm loving it. Very, very pretty. Got a little bit of texture there. Very, very nice. I found this Dollar Tree ribbon very early in the season, and I grabbed it because I knew, and I knew it would be gone. So we've got this 2.5 inch, and I believe this is about a yard or so. I think oh no, actually it's 3 yards. And I'm taking the two of these together. I want to make a bow now. Since the one thing about the Dollar Tree ribbon that I love is the vivid patterns, but the other thing that is kind of not so great about it is it's one-sided. So you have to make a one-sided bow. I've doubled these together. Bow making is not my forte, so to speak, but I'm going to give it a go. I measure out about how large I want the loops. I'm being careful to get the two of these together. The checkered ribbon, the buffalo check ribbon, is, can be two-sided, but the printed pumpkin ribbon is one-sided. We're just going to measure these out. I've got 3 so far. We'll just fold one upon the other, and then you keep holding on to it at the bottom, and then I'm going to have my spools just very close to me, and then we're going to make another loop here, and I'm going to have 5. Okay, and then just matching up the size each time, no different sizes, just making it all the same. And then as we get to the end here, okay, we're gonna, okay, it looks like I did 6 here. 1, 2, I'm counting so fast. 1, 2, yeah, I did 6. Okay, perfect. 5 works good too, if you want to do 5, but I did 6. All right, and then you're pinching and you're holding at that very bottom, and then I've got these, I think you call them, I don't know, I used to call them pipe cleaners, but I'm forgetting the name of them right now. But anyway, you take that pipe cleaner and you wrap it around, and you just keep wrapping and keep wrapping, and then that holds everything in. And don't go too close to the end, because then you'll lose all of your loops. So you want to stay up a little bit higher. Okay, and then I'm taking my loops, I'm pulling them out, and mainly just getting the double loops down. I'm just pulling them down and out, and just getting them separated here. Okay, and then now that I have them all out, let's double check this here a little bit. I'm a little worried about it not holding on tight enough to the bottom. So I'm just going to make sure it's secure. And then I'm going to start pulling these two ribbons apart. Not real hard, because you don't want to pull it completely apart, but enough to get them separated. And you can alternate it to pull one side, the checkered side, buffalo check, and then the pumpkin side, and then alternate it all the way through. And this is one of my favorite bows to make. I just feel that I don't have to keep worrying about one loop being bigger, smaller, smaller, smaller. So this is how it turns out. And I'll be fluffing and fluffing and fluffing until my heart's content. And then I'll be fluffing a little bit more. That's what I do. And here you have it. Very happy about the way that this turned out. And it's Dollar Tree ribbon. So very affordable bow. I'm not going to cut the tails off yet. I'm just going to, I'll dovetail it at the end. But I just want to get a good idea of how this is going to look. Still fluffing, and I will be doing that over and over again. And then here's our back of the bow. So it's a little bit flat on the back. You can get them to where they're kind of round if you need them to be, but mine right now needs to be flat on the back. So I'm taking some of that jute twine, and this is how I'm going to attach it. Just taking an overhand knot. This jute twine comes in so handy because it looks natural. And if you see it, it just looks natural. That's the great part of it. And it's always available, and I always seem to have it. And I always have a backup too. I always grab another backup. And then this is just part of attaching it here. I've got a couple of bows that I tied in the back, and then more fluffing. And we just have to keep fluffing and keep checking it out and making it perfect, and then fluff it again. But I'm just really, what I'm doing at this point is I'm just admiring this pattern. Very pretty. And Dollar Tree has done it. I mean, that's crazy. And then we have a gourd Dollar Tree also. And going with that Thanksgiving theme, I thought I'd put a little gourd on there. And then we've got our foliage here. It's just called foliage. And these are our leaves. And they give you so many in one pick. It's just unbelievable. So we've got some mums here just to vary some of the colors. So I had found 2 different types of mums, and I'm just going to pull these apart, and then I'll disperse them on one side and then the other. And then I got this viburnum. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I thought I would put some white in here just to give it a little bit of variation. And then here's the other color mum, all $1.25, and just out of this world. Very full. They never used to be this full, and they really look amazing. Just very vibrant colors, and a lot for that extra quarter. They're giving us that extra. So I've laid out some of the leaves, and I did have some leaves in my arsenal that I pulled out just to get some variation of colors and make it look like the fall leaves. And then I've got some of that Temu nano tape, and it seems to work out really great for me when I'm attaching anything like an apple or pumpkin or anything. So I mean, I may go back and hot glue it in later in a couple of spots, but the Temu tape just holds very well. And I'm gonna put 2 pieces on here. I'll get an upper part of that here to hold it into the bow. And then later on, what I'll do to arrange, make that bow stay up a little bit more, because it'll start to get heavy, I will hot glue that bow a little bit more to the wreath. So now I've got my leaves laid out, and I've got my little thing here so I don't get burned. I laid out my leaves so that they looked somewhat symmetrical. I started to put the colors and layer the colors in, and just laying them out and getting a bit of a pattern will give you some symmetry. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does look good when it's somewhat of a pattern. So I'm going to get those glued on, and then I'm going to vary my colors. I'll have a darker color, and then that lighter orange, and then maybe the beige. I just take a look and see what this is going to look like. And then I've got these glued down, and you'll see too that I have the hot glue was blobby, and some of it did go through a little bit, and you can see it. But once the mums get glued on, that's going to cover that up. The leaves are a bit thin, but for your money, you can't go wrong. They really give it just so much color and so much life. And then you'll see too, as I'm putting that hot gluing that leaf down, that it does leave that little puddle and that mark. But we'll go through and we'll get those straightened out. And then what I do with the mums, I wanted some greenery on the mums, so I pushed them all the way up, and then I cut the stem off, and then I take this to get them prepared. I take the hot glue gun and then push that leaf, those leaves on, and then that will glue them together. And then I'll use my little tool here, my silicone fingers, and then we'll get those glued down, just sporadically, or it is symmetrical. It's not really sporadic, but I do like the symmetry of color. And then these white vibrams, however you say this, I tried cutting them with my scissors, and that just didn't work out. It's better to have the nippers, I think you call them. But these white flowers, yeah, there we are. These white flowers will give some color too, a little bit of variation of color, and I believe that they'll stand out very nicely. So I cut them up, made them a little tiny stem. I'm just fishing them through here, trying to find a spot. I end up trying to use some of the string, some of that jute string that I tied around, and then I hot glue those into the wreath itself. And then I'm just going to hold on to that with my silicone finger. And then see a little bit more. It was a little bit difficult to get them glued down because they're very tiny stems. And then we'll take our other one, we'll get that glued in, and then I just sporadically put them through, somewhat symmetrical, and just placed them and worked them through and to get them where I wanted. And then we'll work on that bow and keep fluffing that bow up as we go along. We keep fluffing our bow, and I really love how that gourd looks in there. I didn't know what to expect, but I love the variation of color. And then I went ahead and I made a sign on my laser, and I'll show you in a second. But this wired jute from Dollar Tree is amazing. And then I had a little kit that I had, like a picture frame kit. I didn't really want to drill holes into the wood of the sign, so I came up with this idea of using these little picture frame, I guess you would call them hangers, picture frame hangers. And then I feed that through. It was a little hard to get that through because there was not a lot of space. I feed that through, and I use that jute to get my sign put in. And the Thankful is painted with rustic orange, Rust-Oleum, and I will put the link in. And this is my laser that I'll link that down below. Sometimes it's not always available, but it will be here and there. And then there's others from ATEZR available as well, but I'll link it below. But that's what I made the sign with. I did use my bandsaw just to cut the wood, and then I used the laser and Lightburn. Lightburn is the software that I use to make the word thankful, and then I cut it out with the laser and then painted it with the rustic orange. All right, and I'm just going to go back and forth and show you about what I did here. And now I've got the one side on, and I'm going to go and just tie it in with the other. And then now that I have a really good idea, I'm going to finally cut my ribbon, my tails, and then I'm going to use my really good scissors, because that helps a lot to use those fabric scissors. Then I'll go ahead and cut the other one. And I love the way that this came out. It's looking so good. And then what I want to do is just put some hot glue on there and get that so to where it doesn't come up. And I just tied it, just kind of kept looping it around in a little bit of a ball. And here we have it. I am so excited at the way that this came out. So excited. We've got our gourd there. We've got our thankful sign and our burlap and our Dollar Tree flowers, which I still can't get over. And then our Dollar Tree foliage and leaves. Even though taking some stuff out of my arsenal, I really didn't have to take a lot. I got a lot of the flowers from Dollar Tree. I actually got all of them from Dollar Tree, just some leaves. And then here's our word thankful, cut on the laser. And then our little white flowers that just look so amazing. And our gourd. And I have to always put a mum or a flower over. I have a magnet, so I always have to put something over it. And then here is our jute twine tied around. Got a little bit of glue there. We'll take that off. Absolutely just gorgeous. I'm so happy with the way this turned out. I'm excited to have it on my door. I've always wanted a Thanksgiving wreath for my front door, and I want to thank my sister-in-law for gifting us all the craft items. We're just so excited to be able to put something so nice together that we can enjoy year after year. If you make a Thanksgiving harvest wreath, share the inspiration and tag us on Instagram, Tranquil_Mentor, or visit us on Facebook at Tranquil Mentor. If you are already one of our subscribers, welcome back and thanks for watching our video today. And if you're not a subscriber, welcome to our channel. And if you would be so kind to subscribe and like our video, it helps YouTube notice us a little more and it supports our channel and helps us to grow. And as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next one.